having a conversation with Tomasz Stańczak, co-executive director of the Ethereum Foundation and the founder of Nethermind. Excuse me. Please welcome them here.
Well, thank you so much for Finnovus for the invitation, and a great honor to have Tomasz here. Hi, everyone. My name is Gavin. I'm a Chief Investment Officer for SNZ Holding and SNZ Capital. So SNZ is also like the long-term Ethereum builders, supporting like the Ethereum to build a local community since day one. And Tomasz and it's like us, like we have just announced like to build Ethereum Hong Kong community hub. So it shows lots of commitment to Asia. It's like great to have Tomasz here. And today we are thank you. So today we are going to talk a little bit more about our efforts to build like the next generation financial institutions, right? So Tomasz, because you have a very legendary background, right? You successfully founded like Nethermind, and now you moved to the full-time role at the Ethereum Foundation. Could you please give the audience a little bit more background about yourself and what you want to achieve at the foundation? Thank you.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Looking backwards, before founding Nethermind, which is core development company in the Ethereum space, I was in traditional finance space in London, but always on technology side, building the solutions for FX trading at Citibank at the short-term interest rate trading desk. And then also with Rockets Capital for briefly over a year, also building solutions, technology solutions for treasury, P&L, and so on. So then the last 8 years was building Nethermind. Nethermind as a core development team, first 3 years, full-time programming, building the Ethereum client implementation. So understanding Ethereum from the ground, implementing EVM, implementing networking, implementing Merkle, Patricia trees, and so on, so on. So all the technical details, and then building company around it on infrastructure side, security, talking to institutions, and always thinking about that long-term evolution when the traditional finance will start joining the space of crypto, of blockchain. In 2017, I was so convinced that in the future we'll have hedge funds running their own nodes for Ethereum to be able to access data and to be able to execute faster. At that time, we were running also lots of workshops where we taught people how to run bytecodes directly for Ethereum, because we were predicting that it will be super important to optimize some of the operations. We were thinking about MEV, about on-chain trading, and so on. So that story all the way to this year, joining Ethereum Foundation. I think I have lots of experience of connecting business, technology, working with developers, working on MEV, working on staking. So everything really that matters for traders, for institutions, and for builders on blockchain, on Ethereum.
Yeah, cool. So thanks, Tomasz. As Tomasz mentioned, he has a very good a mix of background, like traditional finance and tech developments. And also, he mentioned there are lots of institution adoption, even from the institutional level of staking. By the way, if any of the investors are interested to explore that possibility, you guys should talk with Nethermind as well. Let's go to some topics, right? So some questions. Ethereum has Ethereum has brought smart contracts to the world, right? And also tons of the other innovations. And it's would you mind share a little bit more about how Ethereum and the blockchain technology are kind of helping to solve the problems the current financial system has? Yeah.
Sure. So Ethereum has been innovating for the last 10 years, innovating with all the assumptions of security is extremely important in the first place, and decentralization matters, and all the values of Ethereum. And on top of it, you allow people to just explore and experiment. Even as we set up, we did deliver the Ethereum for the international finance. We started by allowing builders to experiment with all the ideas and visions of what you can do with smart contracts, which means that there were the first standards, ERC20, that nowadays it's such an obvious choice for tokenization, for permissionless tokenization, the NFT standards for art, and starting a craze of people tokenizing art or content and so on through the NFTs on Ethereum. All of those things were starting with small projects in Ethereum in like 2016, 2017. The DAOs were tested and experimented with for different models for the DAOs on Ethereum. So governance models, so privacy solutions on Ethereum through zero knowledge, building smart contracts to support layer 2s on the top of Ethereum for scaling, and practically building the future of DeFi and governance. Nowadays also the agentic AI, innovating with what you can do on blockchain if you have full programmability.
Yeah, so lots of you mentioned, I would say it's a very crypto native, very kind of blockchain native, right? But for today's like a large portion of the audience, it's a bit more kind of traditional financial institution. Would you mind giving a little bit more, like in terms like a traditional financial institution adoption, or like the influence the blockchain and Ethereum technology will have on them, and probably give them some examples?
Sure. So I think that the obvious thing is stablecoins. So stablecoins dating back like to 2016, 17, when you had first stablecoins launched with ERC20 token standard on Ethereum. So when you hear about the major stablecoins, whether it's Circle, whether it's Tether, whether there are alternative versions or synthetic stablecoins, all of that is predominantly on Ethereum mainnet. That's where the volumes are. That's where the stablecoins transfers are, and as you know, stablecoins is where everyone is innovating now on that connection point of traditional finance, payment systems, cross-border payments, finally solving many of the problems for the cost, operational efficiency, the checks, the compliance of moving money between your subsidiaries for the companies, between the merchants overseas. The remittance, all of that really at a fraction of the cost now in a unified way with lots of standards, and all of the standards people can pick up, and those standards now are being accepted by the regulators, by the compliance teams, and that's what we see. First, whether it's banks, payments operators, they adopt stablecoins, and the next step is they will go for hybrid models with DeFi projects. They will start going for the lending. Tokenization is now getting a lot of traction, attention. The numbers are going exponentially up, which means that with tokenized assets, you have this 24/7 trading, the global liquidity access, fractionalization, and over time, much stronger controls and tracing of the assets and verifiability of who is the owner, and that should be much cheaper dispute resolution and tracing.
Yeah, because like you mentioned lots for the financial institution, I think once they consider to put things on chains, like either stablecoin or AWS, etc., the first thing they should think about like the security, right? So I think people might not be fully aware like the security really makes Ethereum outstanding. Could you either for the past 10 years with like uptime is like 100%, like also like decentralized the governance, etc. Would you mind give them a little bit more color about this as well?
Yeah, sure. So starting in 2015 and running the network in this July 2025, Ethereum has been celebrating around the world 10 years of no downtime and 10 years of innovation, and I'm thinking of the next 10 years vision and thinking how we decentralized finance, introduced DeFi, and now we also be talking a lot about agentic AI and payments and so on. But coming back to security question, so this is so many layers of people that think that security matters. This is the decentralized governance model of the Ethereum. This is hundreds of core developers and researchers that when they come together to discuss what should be the next upgrades for the Ethereum network, they first think every single upgrade, every single piece of code that goes in, how does it work with the network that should survive the nation state level attack. So like you can imagine the largest financially motivated entities in the world, for whatever reasons, attack the network and in the meantime short the markets. Ethereum should survive any of those types of attacks with the liveness, so the ongoing production of blocks never stopping. And that's what we've seen for the last 10 years, because this is the first question that we ask about every single small upgrade, every single EIP proposal, every single standard. We verify it from the perspective of the high-scale attacks, the liveness of the network, and only then we start thinking about utility. I mean, sure, you start with the utility as the idea for what you want to introduce, but then you verify security aspects, and you make it really airtight. So the Ethereum Foundation supports all core devs with lots of testing, formal verification, verification of all potential combination of clients. So we have client diversity, so ensuring that a bug in any single client that supports so software that operates the nodes, the bug wouldn't cause the network failures. So we'll, at this moment with the current client diversity, if there is a bug in any of the clients, the network will not follow the chain aspect, like I said, the split of the chain that would be invalid. So the other clients will agree on the valid chain and they'll continue. So this is a lot of effort to manage the ecosystem and also feedback from the ecosystem accepting this as a rule and saying actively switching between different client implementations, actively participating in testing and validation and asking the right questions. Lots of bug bounties, lots of top-level security experts. The forums of the Ethereum ecosystem that bring together the security experts and the white hats have a few thousand experts for the last few years discussing all the potential upgrades. And look, it's still we're in the space when the things happen on the smart contracts level, but the chain itself remains robust and continues delivering that very robust base for building anything on top, and also allowing that security to be borrowed by all the L2s that are scaling and innovating in the Ethereum ecosystem.
Yeah, well, personally, I think it's really important and very amazing that for Ethereum, like 10 years, we didn't have any kind of a downtime. It's like the reason why I'm asking you to expand a little bit, because because I came from like UBS backgrounds, like I came from the banks, like we know from like the the business team, like from the even from the compliance legal team, like the risk control team, that what they think about this, and also like we are taking a very long-term view. So we want the industry to have a very prudent way to like move ahead. So otherwise, if you have so many kind of a risk exposed to the large mass, then they may make some people like cold feet, right? So that's why that's my personal suggestion to kind of the audience. If you guys are thinking of like the overall digital asset, like blockchain strategy of your company, like the security is a very important thing. Like you should take care of. The next question will be Ethereum is evolving every day. For example, like the Fusaka upgrading is coming very soon. Would you mind give like the audience a little background about this and like how this could further influence like Ethereum ecosystem and potentially give influence like financial institutional adoption?
Sure. This year in May, we were shipping the Pectra upgrades to the network. It brought the improvements in scaling for the layer 2s in Ethereum upgrades, but the December 3rd is when we expect Fusaka upgrades to the Ethereum network to ship on mainnet. And it brings a lot of performance optimizations and preparation for further scaling with ZK. It brings the massive scaling improvements that are planned for the next few months to be activated gradually for layer 2s to scale and to use the data availability layer of the layer 1 of Ethereum mainnet. So this means that you can build more and more layer 2s custom extensions to Ethereum network that can serve the institutions to build their own much more controlled environments for tokenization, for trading, for whatever purposes, payments the institutions would need. So Fusaka will deliver that. We also deliver support for signing on many of the mobile devices that use passkey signatures with the new curves support and a few other upgrades. But mostly we are targeting preparation for very significant network performance improvements over the next 6 months, both on the layer 1 and layer 2. And then long term, really, we look at so many aspects of the chain. So we're bringing standards for privacy, we're delivering templates and SDKs for privacy for institutions. This is going on the side of the main upgrades because those do not require network upgrades. These are all the standards and toolings and deliveries that can be deployed sometimes on the application layer, sometimes as additional extensions to the language, to Solidity, and so on. we'll be looking at finality improvements, shorter block times, more of the promise for finality for layer 2. So shorter times over which you gained conviction that the transactions will not be reverted. That all matters, and the entire process of upgrade is a lot of feedback from the ecosystem, from cypherpunks, from institutions, from developers, from users, aggregating, understanding it, building the best proposals to deliver the improvements, and then it's months and months and months of building and testing and verifying, and devnets and testnets, and it's like 5 devnets, 2 or 3 testnets, and then production mainnet environment. So that's why the process takes a long time. Some of those overlap as we prepare upgrades for the next year. And next year we should see also things like EPBS, so improvements on the censorship resistance of the market participation, the fairness of access to the markets with your trades. It's already on Ethereum on a very high level, and we continue improving that for all the traders to participate in the markets.
Yeah, thanks, Tomasz, for sharing lots of details. Like in kind of a summary, like for those who might not be very familiar with the roadmap of or the structure of Ethereum, that's like we have like a layer 1 and layer 2. Right? So layer 1 and focus more on the security, etc. Layer 2 is now like making everything like scalable. It's like very affordable and very quick. So like it's easily accessible for all the different kind of user cases. So yeah, if you guys are interested, definitely please follow the Fusaka upgrade. That will be very kind of paving the way for next generation adoption. The next one will be in terms of financial adoption. People sometimes are not quite aware of the actual numbers, right? So how it looks like. So would you give me the audience more color around that topic?
Yeah, so I think that what we've seen this year is absolute success of the Ethereum ecosystem, absolute success of the Ethereum mainnet in scaling and delivering numbers. So nowadays, when you look at lots of metrics, you can almost pick any metric at random and see a huge success on the Ethereum ecosystem. So particularly on tokenization or real-world assets, Ethereum ecosystem, it's 75% of the real-world assets tokenized. On the stablecoins market, 60% is the Ethereum mainnet, which means that Ethereum added around 70 billion, or even more, I think, almost $100 billion in stablecoins over a year. And this increases the Ethereum market share in the stablecoins market to 60% from 55% at the beginning of the year. When you look at the chain revenue, application revenue, in just last months, you will see not only Ethereum mainnet leading, but also many of the Ethereum layer 2s either leading even more or just being there taking lots of spots in the top 10. The DeFi ecosystem, the TVL and accessibility to liquidity on DeFi, this is all on Ethereum. This is overwhelmingly Ethereum mainnet delivering that security and the liquidity that can be then moved to other chains. So massive success in all the metrics, great results, great improvements in scaling, more L2s appearing every week. So more and more institutions actually choosing Ethereum and then announcing that they'll be deploying their major solutions on Ethereum and clearly stating on many, many stages around the world saying, we chose it because of security, we chose it because regulators feel very comfortable with Ethereum. We chose it because our management teams feel that Ethereum is the right choice. We chose it because we were supporting Ethereum for many, many years and it was an obvious choice. We chose it because it decreases the cost significantly for our internal operations, and so on. So it's so easy to come on stage if you're on the institutional side and justify why you chose Ethereum. It's never something difficult to come and convince people.
Yeah, we understand the momentum is very good. And also you guys are doing more work in Asia, showing more commitments. For example, yesterday we did the Ethereum institutional Ethereum events in Hong Kong. Could you share with the audience how Ethereum Foundation will do more, and also the community will do more in Asia to help institutional adoption?
Yeah, so I think we already have a very strong base in Hong Kong and Greater China. And it all comes back to 2015, 2016. Vitalik Buterin, when building the early stages of the Ethereum protocol, he spent a lot of time in Shanghai with Chinese builders, connected with many of the leading Chinese institutions that were interested in the new technology, and that's how we nowadays see a lot of trust from those institutions. So this is the base of fantastic builders that build in Greater China. We see it in Singapore. I think there's lots of effort now to support the building of the tokenization and stable coins, local stable coins in Japan, in Korea, in Hong Kong, in Singapore, in the Southeast Asia region. We see definitely lots of tokenization platforms in Hong Kong, and we're building here support for local universities on research. We're bringing the Ethereum hub to Hong Kong, so you'll be able to regularly meet with founders, with researchers, with the leaders, thought leaders of Ethereum space. There are Ethereum Foundation people in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in the other countries in the region. So definitely massive success of Ethereum in the past. Sometimes it's not seen by the users that much in the countries as Japan and Korea. I think that sometimes they followed the other brands, but institutions there understand and choose Ethereum very actively.
Wow, that's really cool. So yeah, just for the audience, for knowledge, like in Asia, we see so many different kind of institutions there. Some of them like trying to do layer 2 by themselves. Sometimes they try to do like tokenization to issue a stablecoin by themselves. Sometimes they want to do like a custodian, or do like an institutional level of staking. So, but in whatever ways, like if you have whatever needs, you can be free to reach out to the foundation team, also to the local community hub, like the one, for example, the one in Hong Kong is like SNZ is operating. So be free to reach out, and we would love to help and to build the next generation financial institution, financial infra together. Thank you so much, Tomasz.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you, everyone.
Pleasure.